Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on what I hope is the case for all of us, a sunny Friday afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I think we'll go ahead and get started. I think some more people will roll into the meeting as we go along. So this is our third monthly installment of what we call TED Talks. Thanks so much for joining us, and thanks for what you all are contributing or will be contributing to America 250 Ohio. This meeting is being recorded. If you can have your video on, we'd appreciate it. And if you can't, that's fine too. So I'm going to run through some updates. My name's Todd Kleismit. I serve as the Executive Director for America 250 Ohio. You all probably already know that. Thanks so much for your interest in this work. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to talk to begin with a little bit about some things that are happening at the national level. So hopefully you all know there is a National America 250 Commission. It's america250.org. And mention a couple of things that they've been working on. And by the way, we do have all states and territories have established commissions or committees of some kind, not all in the same template. Some were formed by executive orders. Some were passed through legislation like we were here in Ohio. But all states and territories have signed on and are participating. So the National Commission has been working on something called America's Field Trip. And a couple things I'll mention about that. This is essentially an effort where they're collecting essays from students, and it has to do with what being an American means to those students. And the National Commission selects winners in different categories, and those students that are chosen as winners have these amazing behind the scenes kind of experiences at places all around the country. So this is their second year of doing this. They are now making plans for the third year, but this year's winners will be selected here soon. Let's see. I think there's a deadline coming up in April to be submitted. So the America's Field Trip, one of the sites chosen is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So there is an Ohio site. So I think that they're in the midst of coordinating for a summer trip by one or more students. So that's America's Field Trip. You can find out more online. Also, America Gives is a volunteer effort. They're trying to create the largest community service project in the country. You can find more about that on America Gives. And also, the National Commission has been working to build a large bipartisan caucus, the America 250 caucus. And last I heard, there were more than 255 members of Congress that have signed on to serve on that caucus, including some Ohioans. So it is, I am told, the largest and I think the largest caucus in congressional history. So that's great news. So I wanted to just touch on those couple of things about what the National Commission is doing. Also, something that is national in scope is something called Two Lights for Tomorrow. And that is going to be an effort to commemorate the 250th anniversary of Paul Revere's famed ride through the Massachusetts countryside. One if by land, two if by sea. And the next day, April 19th, was Lexington and Concord and the beginning of the American Revolutionary War. So one thing that has picked up steam across the country is every state commission is asking their state houses to put up two lights. It's called Two Lights for Tomorrow. to put up 2 lights in the State House, and the Ohio State House has agreed to work with us on that. So on the evening of Friday, April 18, there will be 2 lights lit in the State House cupola. If you're familiar with that, this will be viewed from the west side of the Ohio State House. We're going to put together a short program for that. That'll be a Friday evening at around dusk, so a 8 p.m. program. Stay tuned for more on that. We're putting the finishing touches on a flyer right now for that. So I wanted you to be aware that that is something coming our way. Oh, and I should also mention the next day, Saturday, April 19, we're also encouraging people to do some sort of community service. And so there are a number of options people can choose from. There's a small state agency called Serve Ohio, and they have a range of different community service projects for anyone interested in finding out how they can plug in their own community. Okay, so that, of course, is happening. I think I'm told in more than 40 different states are participating in that. And we're also encouraging our county courthouses to also participate. So hopefully a number of our county courthouses will also put up 2 lights the evening of April 18. So if you have an opportunity to mention this to your county commissioners, I hope that you will. We're not prescribing a certain time. We're not prescribing that the lights be lit a certain way or a certain color. It's just a sort of a show of unity around the country that evening to commemorate the beginning of the Revolutionary War activities. So 2 lights for tomorrow. Okay, I also wanted to mention we have all 88 counties have now passed resolutions. I think I mentioned this at the last TODD Talks a month ago, and I'm sure not all of you were with us then, but that is an achievement we're very proud of. So all 88 counties have passed resolutions, and a lot of other communities as well, cities, villages, and townships. I think there are more than 250 communities now that have passed those resolutions. And all we were requiring in the resolutions is that they form a local committee of some kind. We don't prescribe that it needs to be a certain size or who needs to serve on it, things of that nature. But we're really trying to incentivize local engagement and local participation. And we do need a couple of liaisons to help. So when my colleague Taylor Tomu is sharing information with various communities, that's a real great way for us to stay in touch with you so that you know about the activities of the State Commission and that we can share information. Sometimes it's national information we want to share with you. And also we want to make sure we know what's happening at the local level. So you can find out more at america250ohio.org/communities if you need to find out more about your own local community and if you're listed. Oh, and so another thing I want to mention is the grants program here. We have our third and final round of grants have been made available. The deadline to submit was January 31st, and what we're aiming to help fund is the work of those local committees we mentioned. The America 250 Ohio communities should all be forming local committees. Some of them formed them a long time ago, some of them more recently, but it is the work of those local groups. So we're aiming to get out $5,000 grants to help support some of the work being done locally. So we did move the date for our announcement. So if you were paying attention to this earlier, you probably saw March 31 date of announcement. We pushed that back to April 15th. So be aware of that minor change. Other than that, the grants have been submitted and they're under review now. So stay tuned for more in the middle of April for that. Okay, so our commission continues to meet quarterly. We have another commission meeting coming up next Friday, a week from today, March 14th, in the city of Akron. Hopefully we have some Summit County people on this call today. If you are anywhere near Akron, you probably know this is the year of the Akron Bicentennial. So Akron is celebrating their bicentennial. They have a local commission, some great people involved with them. So we're meeting in Akron primarily for that reason, to help recognize their bicentennial. And it's also the bicentennial of when the construction began on the Ohio canals. So big year for both Akron and Ohio Canal history. You can find out more about our meetings and so forth on our website. So check us out at america250ohio.org. Okay, so it is March, and I'll bet most of you know that the state budget is currently pending. And if you don't already know, the America 250 Ohio Commission is one line item within the Ohio History Connection line items in the state operating budget. That's where you would find us under our legal name, the Ohio Commission for the U.S. Semi-Quincentennial. So there we are, and we're pleased to report that the governor's introduced version of the state budget has us up for a sizable increase, and we're so grateful for the governor for his confidence in the work that we're doing. So currently in FY25, which is roughly 3/4 the way through, we're at $3 million in state support. The governor has proposed funding the commission at $7.5 million in FY26, and then 2.5 in the second year of the biennium. That will be our final year of our commission, and that would be FY27. So the commission sunsets no later than June of 2027, that calendar year. So be aware of that. Also, I gave budget testimony roughly a month ago, so that was very well received by our friends in the Ohio House of Representatives. Secondarily to that, more recently, we were invited to give testimony to a new Ohio House Arts, Athletics, and Tourism Committee that is chaired by State Representative Melanie Miller of Ashland. And that was actually just a few days ago. So it's been a big week. We were very pleased that we were invited to testify about the work of the commission and how it relates to tourism. And so Tourism Ohio testified, as did the Ohio Chamber of Commerce and myself. So that was a great opportunity for us to help share the stories about the work that we're doing with the Ohio General Assembly. One other thing that is currently pending in the General Assembly is there is a House Concurrent Resolution 6, and I think Abby might help put something in the chat here about that. So thank you, Abby. So this is basically a statement of support of the work of the commission. And so we're at this time now where it's really important to have the Ohio General Assembly aware of what we're doing and participate in it. You know, all of a lot of the communities in their own local districts are engaged, and so we want to make sure that the Ohio General Assembly continues to be a strong partner with us these next 2 years. So House Concurrent Resolution 6 is a statement of support. We're expecting any day now that there will be Senate Concurrent Resolution to be the companion to that. And that gives us an opportunity to invite stakeholders who are not necessarily on the commission, but to come in and testify about how the work that we're all doing together is vitally important to the state and, quite frankly, to our nation, that we all engage and participate in America 250 in ways that are meaningful to us locally and at the state level. So if any of you are interested in being an advocate and could be called upon to testify in support of either House Concurrent Resolution 6 or the Senate companion, please let us know in the chat, or you can reach out to me separately. But we are looking for a few people who are familiar with the work of the commission to help be advocates for us when called upon. So we'd appreciate you thinking about that. Okay, I'm going to talk about a couple of programs that are coming up here soon, and we will definitely get to some questions from all of you. Thanks again for joining us. If you joined us a little bit late, this is sort of like office hours for myself, Todd Kleismit, Executive Director of America 250 Ohio, and appreciate you all spending your Friday afternoon with us. We have, so no, let me put it this way. The state of Ohio has annually named a few people to what they call the Great Ohioans. I'll bet some of you have heard of that. There is an exhibit on this within the Ohio State House. So each year, I think a few people are typically nominated and become Great Ohioans. This year, there are 3 people being inducted into that esteemed group, and they are all 3 Ohio um, film stars. So Dorothy Dandridge, Clark Gable, and Paul Newman are this year's inductees into the Great Ohioans. And we are going to have an event because this is very closely tied to the Ohio Goes to the Movies effort. Hoping you've all heard about Ohio Goes to the Movies. If you're less familiar with that, check us out online, ohiogoestothemovies.org. And so we were pleased to see those 3 Ohio movie stars added to the Great Ohioans. There's going to be an event on, let's see, April 2nd in the evening at the State House Atrium. So I think there is a link for anyone who's interested in registering for that. That'll be an evening event, 6 to 8 on April 2nd, the Great Ohioans. So look for more information on that. Let's see. I think the only other thing I was going to mention today, and then see what questions you have, is I just had to mention that we launched our second Trails and Tales. These are driving trails that we're packaging in concert with America 250. We launched our first one themed to air and space back in May of 2024. And hopefully you're all familiar with that. Our second one was just launched about a month ago in Toledo, and that one is the Ohio Creativity Trail. So those places around the state of Ohio that we can look to for creative expression, those are on the Creativity Trail. So there's more than 100 places all over Ohio. You can find that out online. I know the link is in the chat, so if you aren't already familiar with it, check that out when you get a chance. So we're very pleased. We got great media coverage out of that, and so we couldn't be happier. So one of our commission members, Melinda Huntley, really led the way for us on that effort, and it was a sort of a big undertaking, but we're so thrilled that was pulled off successfully. So check that out, Ohio Creativity Trail. All right. So thank you again for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and pause here and see what questions you have. And I think my colleagues can help monitor the chat. You can either put your question in the chat or go ahead and unmute yourself with any questions. We'll do our best to answer any questions that you have. So thanks, everyone.
Todd, this is Abby. I would add, if you're going to unmute yourself, if you could raise your hand first, and then we can call on you that way. Multiple people don't start talking at once, but yes,
Okay.
the chat or unmuting yourself. Yes, thank you.
We have a shy group today, Abby. Okay.
Okay, we have a question from Sharon. Sharon, what's your question?
Hey, Sharon.
Hi there. I'm Sharon Metch, and I'm from Southwest Ohio in Hamilton County. My question is a lot of the townships in this area are really slow to getting on the bandwagon, so to speak. And I guess my question is, as far as funding goes, since several of us missed the grant program, what is your advice for us. Are there maybe, could we go to the county level for some help, or how would we do that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Sharon. Yeah, I think groups that are just getting started, I think there are a couple ways to think about this. We've encouraged some of the community foundations around Ohio to pay attention to this opportunity in the past year or so. And I think some of them are doing that, and sometimes local counties and convention and visitors bureaus. I can point to Stark County as a fantastic example. They have set aside $250,000 in Stark County to help fund local efforts. So I would say if you think more of at the county level, ways to help incentivize those who are, typically funding community projects, to think about that. But it's very possible that there are submissions pending right now in our grants program that are from your county. Um, so those are a couple things I would say about that. And occasionally there are going to be some other dollars that become available. So we'll keep our eyes on that. And Taylor Tomu, who heads up our work with the community liaisons, will be sure to share opportunities we see, whether they're grants or other funding opportunities. So
Todd,
stay tuned.
sorry, this is Abby. I wanted to, I believe the National Park Service has an opportunity for state and local governments. It's coming up quick. I think the deadline's March 18th, but I'll put that in the chat as well.
Okay, thank you, Abby. Okay, so we have a question here from Amy in the chat. Can we create a listserv or repository where we can put ideas? What I am planning is all free since we can't bank on getting the grant. I would be happy to share ideas. Okay. Not a bad idea there. So I'll probably need to lean on my colleagues with the commission about the best way to do something like that. I think there are probably a couple of mechanisms here, but that's a good question. I think we can take back and think through the best way to share information more easily.
Yeah, Todd, there was another question from Elaine. Could you clarify about the reference to Ashland?
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. Hi, Elaine. I referenced that there's a new Ohio House committee that was formed, and they just had their first meeting, and it's called the House Arts, Athletics, and Tourism Committee, and it is chaired by State Representative Melanie Miller of Ashland. And we are also, speaking of Ashland, I will say this too, we are working fairly closely with the communities that are located along US Route 250, including places like Ashland, Worcester, Norwalk, Sandusky, the list goes on. So we're trying to work with those communities to theme the work of America 250 along with US Route 250.
That's kind of cute.
So that continues to go on. And if you need to know more information about that, just shoot me an email later. Happy to fill you in with more if you are one of those communities along US Route 250.
Next question from Neil. Will the Ohio in the Revolution webinar series recording be made available after it happens? I will not be able to watch it live.
We are going to record it, and we will definitely make that available to everyone who registers, and we'll figure out. I don't know if we've sorted out for sure if it will later be available on other platforms, so we'll be giving that some thought. But even if you can't attend in person, I would encourage you to register for that. So again, the first one is kicking off on March 20th. The second one will be in the May timeframe. We're likely going to be on generally a quarterly cadence for that. Every 2 to 3 months, we'll be doing a new episode. And we've got a group of subject matter experts, historians, local historical societies, and tribal representatives that are part of a panel that we will discuss what was happening in and around the Ohio country in circa 1776 and a little bit before and a little bit after that. So stay
we
tuned.
also have a YouTube page. Quanta just messaged me, reminding me that we plan to post those as
Okay,
well to YouTube
super.
eventually. So,
Okay, that's great. Thanks.
Question from John: will Trails and Tales be expanded as more local entities learn about this and join the 250 program? My city missed submitting sites for aviation and creativity. So I can speak to that, Todd. I'm on the Trails and Tales working group team, and we're looking at periodically adding sites in increments spaced along as we roll those programs out. There is a submission link for each one of those so that a group of people will who are on the team review. So there are some criteria. And so if I'm going to drop my email in the chat, and if you email me directly, for those who are interested, I can send you the submission links. And again, that's there's just some information about the criteria, a couple questions you have to submit, making sure that your site meets that criteria. For example, it has to be open on a regular schedule and offer some sort of visitor experience, things like that. So our team will review that and then be in touch. Yep. Next question, I'm going back up further from Leslie Wagner, our new commission member who's joining us next week. What are some fun America 250 projects you've seen in other states?
Okay, well, not sure I have an awesome answer to that, Leslie, but what I can tell you is I think that the states that are leading the pack, in my opinion, are Virginia and Pennsylvania. They got a nice early start. Virginia has, they've got George Washington, they've got Colonial Williamsburg, and they have a lot of resources at their disposal. So that's fantastic. And Pennsylvania with Philadelphia, I think that those are the ones, if you wanted to look to benchmarks of other states, those were the two I would most point people to. A lot of us are doing similar sort of programs and projects. For example, one thing I haven't mentioned is we're going to be planting some trees, sort of borrowing on the idea of Liberty trees. And Leslie Wagner is neck deep in that with us. So thank you for your leadership on that, Leslie. We're working with a lot of the arboretums and Ohio Department of Natural Resources and Keep Ohio Beautiful. Lots of stakeholders are involved in that. That is, I think, being done in a lot of other states as well, maybe being done differently, maybe different kinds of trees. I think mostly what we're going to be planting are probably white oaks. But it is sort of all coming back to the idea of Liberty trees back in the day, circa 1775 and 76. Who else has questions? Okay, well, we're only at 12:30. Anyone else have questions of us, ideas, etc.? Okay. Well, this, of course, isn't your only shot to communicate with us, or we are going to continue this monthly meetup here. Our next TODD Talks will be on Friday, April 4th. I also want to mention that for those of you who might be involved with local committees in your own counties or cities, villages, and townships, my colleague Taylor Tomu has a convening the last Monday of each month where she updates those liaisons that are with America 250 Ohio Communities. So be sure to check into that if you're not already familiar. So I see a question here from Ron Marvin. In Wyandotte County, we have some movies with Upper Sandusky connections. How can we get them added to the database? Abby, would you go ahead and
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to put in Molly's email or.
Well, there's actually a form now on the Ohio Goes to the Movies website where you
Okay.
can submit your additions directly there, and then they will like periodically incorporate those.
Okay.
I think they've gotten a fair number. So it might
Superb.
take a little bit of time, but
Okay,
there
that's
is
great.
that link.
We think we've got close to all of them, but boy, it is something where, there's so many different Ohio ties. It always astounds me how many there are. Okay, Two Lights for Tomorrow. How can we find out more? I would say, thank you for that question, Harold. And we are very close to having a flyer ready for that and a website place for people to register. So I think by next week we'll be pushing that out. And again, it is something where we're encouraging county courthouses to also participate. I'm told more than 40 states are now participating in this in their state capitals, and you should be seeing more on that by next week for sure. So thanks. Anybody else have questions? Okay. Well, I don't want to keep us longer than necessary. Okay. Great. Yeah, Alabama has a nice Two Lights for Tomorrow page. Interestingly, with Two Lights for Tomorrow, it originated from the 250 Commission in Wisconsin. And the gentleman, his name is Kevin Hampton, who started that idea, has actually been hired away by the Virginia 250 Commission. So he's in the midst of moving to Virginia. So you'll see Virginia especially leaning into the Two Lights for Tomorrow effort. So pretty exciting. Okay, well, we're all doing our best here to keep everyone informed, and I know once in a while, if we're not timely on an email, please feel free to nudge us again. We're doing our best to keep tabs at the national level. Our team has a meeting of a convening of the 250 leaders across the country later this afternoon, a virtual meeting. So lots going on. That's a great problem for us to have. We appreciate all of you participating in this and for your interest in our work. So thanks again for joining us this afternoon. We'll do our best to stay in touch. And if you have great ideas, things happening locally, this isn't a one-way street. Let us know how we can help you achieve what you want to do in your local communities. And thanks so much for your interest in this work. Okay. So with that, I think we'll close out here, and thanks everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. If we don't see you beforehand, we'll maybe see many of you again on April 4th. Thanks everyone. Bye.